Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics to be a little more prepared for Sunday Mass. My name is Scott Williams. My co-host is Jeff Traylor. What's up, Jeff?
Just living the dream, Scott.
Yeah.
Doing podcasts, hanging out with my bros. It's a pretty good time.
Recording the pod.
Yeah. Dropping pods.
That's Cap.
I did teach you that phrase today, didn't I?
Yeah.
You just said I was lying, though, and that's not cap. No cap.
That's no cap.
Yeah.
Father Peter Marshall, do you well, first of all, welcome. Welcome back to the pod. This pod is no cap. Do you know what that means?
I do.
What's it mean?
It's a little ambiguous, but it means lying or shades of bad or negative, or like you don't want to be cap.
Yeah, for sure. This show is not cap.
Why did you switch into like a grunge voice?
I think this
Hard
is,
rock.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nirvana.
Yeah, for sure. Nirvana.
Nirvana.
Except grunge.
You talking like in the philosophical phrase? Or?
No, I'm talking like smells like Teen Spirit.
Mm.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, learn that.
Speaking of smells, I was waiting for your transition.
I'm just ready for the 2-minute drill. And you promised that it would be 2 minutes. So all you haters out there that think Jeff's
it's 2-minute drill. Why isn't it 2 minutes long?
this one's not going to be 3 or 4 or 5. It's going to be 2.
We do have a sponsor though today. Do we want to talk about our sponsor before
The
2-minute drill?
Let's do the sponsor.
Don't forget, we've got our ads.
Let's I'll cue the sponsor music.
Is that the sponsor music?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Our sponsor today, Peter's Keys.
Oh,
Peter's Keys is our sponsor. Are you a hardworking Catholic who feels like a little like a walking janitorial service? Tired of jingling more keys than the medieval dungeon master? Well, fret no more, because we have the divine solution for you. Introducing Peter's Keys, the heavenly key that opens every locked door, gate, and even those secret compartments of your heart. Picture this. You're rushing from room to room, juggling keys like a circus performer, desperately trying to lock everything from the supply closet to the mysterious basement. But fear not, because with Peter's Keys, you can unlock the kingdom of efficiency and bid farewell to your keyring chaos. These miraculous keys are a divine remedy for your key-carrying woes. Crafted with precision, blessed by the holy might, Peter's Keys, like a heavenly skeleton key, making sure you are never caught empty-handed in front of a locked door again. Don't let your key ring hold you back. Step into a new era of efficiency with Peter's Keys, the ultimate solution for the hardworking Catholic professionals who deserve a break from the jingling chaos of keys. Unlock the door to simplicity and unlock the full potential of your workday. Note, results may include increased productivity, a lighter pocket, and an overwhelming sense of key ring relief. Divine intervention not required.
Oh, wow. Where do we find more about Peter's Keys?
Peterskeys.store.
Store. Got it. That was the longest ad read.
I cut out 3/4 of it. Not lying. I got really into writing ad reads.
And I was thinking 30-second spot for what they paid.
That was 30 seconds if my 2-minute drill is 2 minutes.
All right, on with the Borophyll.
Sorry you didn't like my ad read.
No, I liked it. Is it an actual?
I can do the whole thing.
Is it an actual key?
It's Peter's Keys.
Is that?
It's a divine remedy. Go to peterskeys.store and you can learn more.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Our first reading comes from Jeremiah chapter 20. Jeremiah writes us a poem. It's a beautiful poem. He sings the praise of the Lord, tells him he's going to cast away the wicked. We're just going to leave it at that. It was beautiful. Response to the Psalm, Lord, in your great love, answer me.
The 12th week.
12th week of ordinary time. Yes. Lord, in your great love, answer me. A beautiful praise and prayer to God that we can sing in the Psalm this week or recite in the Psalm. Our second reading comes from Romans chapter 5. In Paul's letter to the Romans, he starts off first, sin entered the world, and then he tells us about how thus sin, and then as much as sin, and this is what sin has done to us, and this is where sin led us, and Adam and Moses and all of these people because of the sin. And then it's not, yes. And then God, in a gracious gift, and we feel the joy that Christ's love can overflow for all of us because that sin was wiped away through this gift. And then our gospel comes from Matthew chapter 10, 26 to 33. Jesus said to the 12, fear no one, nothing is concealed that will not be revealed, nor secret that will not be known. What I say to you in the darkness, speak in the light. What you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. And do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in Gehenna. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a small coin? Yet not one of them falls to the ground without your Father's knowledge. Even all the hairs on your head are counted. So do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. Everyone who acknowledges me and others, I will acknowledge before my heavenly Father. But whoever denies me before others, I will deny before my heavenly Father.
Good job, Jeff.
Hey, thanks.
Father Peter, did Jeff get anything wrong?
Not so far.
Yep.
There's still time.
Still time.
Yeah, it's coming.
What are you preaching this weekend, or you got a deacon preaching? What's the
I'm preaching.
awesome?
Yeah,
Do you like preaching?
I do.
Is it like one of your favorite parts about being a priest?
It is, for sure. Sometimes I get like, it takes a lot of time and effort to preach well, I think,
Mhm.
at least for me. And so there are times where I'm like tired because everything else is going on, and trying to find that time and give it what it deserves. But yeah, generally speaking, I really enjoy preaching.
What are you preaching on this weekend?
I think I might preach about the first reading, Jeremiah, in the avoidance of those who do evil. And I think a lot of times in our lives, we allow a sense of compassion for people who are bad influences on us to justify spending that time with them, instead of saying, no, look, if you're a bad influence, like I'm just not going to be there. And that it's important for our spiritual lives and our, just kind of general psychological health to not be in that mess.
So rather than get into I can fix this person, right? Or maybe I can recognize that maybe just being away from this person or being around this person is going to draw me. It's going to be easier to draw me into
absolutely
this poor influence than it is to pull this person away.
Yeah.
Where's the line? When do you say like, all right, well, now it's time that I turn my back on this person, instead of saying, let's turn them around?
Yeah. When do you say, no, you can't be on the podcast anymore?
Oh, is that what this is all about?
No.
All right, I'll leave.
I think there's an important difference between turning your back on someone and saying, I'm not going to be investing in someone. Right. So to say, particularly sometimes the bad influences are family, and we can't, not hopefully our immediate family, but in our extended family, and we can't necessarily and don't want to cut ties, but we can say, I'm not going to seek them out. I'm not going to invite them to come over. The door's open and we can have those important and sometimes difficult conversations, but I'm going to choose to invest my time and energy with people who are a holy influence.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting, like tying to family. We've discussed, I think, on this podcast before, at least Scott and I have discussed before with friends in the prayer group that we're in, that struggle of how do we evangelize to our families? How do we bring people to, closer to the faith who we feel like are drawn away? But I think that's interesting the way you stated that like it made more sense to me, the sense that like there are many times where you can invest yourself and you pour your heart open and you put a lot of energy into trying to do that good, and then it hurts so much more than when it's slammed in your face or or ignored or scoffed at.
Right.
When it is those people, you know, who you care about. So how do you balance that, like caring for someone, but not making that like?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can still pray for them. You certainly can, you know, continue to wish them well. I don't recommend, you know, like uninviting them from Thanksgiving or things like that. I think there's plenty of those opportunities there for both you to be a witness and ready, as St. Peter says, to give a defense of your faith, but also just recognizing like time is precious and we are easily influenced as a human species, and we have enough bad influences coming into our life as it is, and be careful, be choosy about who we spend our time with.
Yeah, I also think that there's we're not built for the relationships that we're being expected to maintain in today's society. Like, I don't want to get in this whole like social media conversation, but like there's no way that I'm still supposed to maintain the relationships that I have from junior high as a grown adult today. You know, these people live on the other side of the country. I probably won't see a lot of these people again, but but there's still this like pressure to live up to a certain standard or to develop some of these relationships and to keep some of these close connections, even though but I think there's a nature of community that is a physical, you know, location and people, and there's a finite number of people that you can actually invest your time and energy into that's really going to push the needle, I feel like. And I guess that's the thing that I have maybe the difficulty determining of. I definitely on board with invest your time, what's going to build you up. But I think what I hear you saying is maybe not necessarily turn your back on somebody, but maybe not just invest your time in trying to deepen that relationship more if it's not coming around or it's not going to be part of your lived reality. Right. Okay, got it. What else?
Is that not enough for a homily?
I don't know. I feel like you got the 3-point homilies, and that's like.
Yeah, we've been learning a lot about forms of homilies. You teach. You're a teacher.
Who's been revealing these secrets to you though?
There's the 3-point, and then the butt trick method. This is my favorite.
The butt trick. So I've seen a lot of priests do the butt trick. Just reach in and pull it out.
Unbelievable. I use a modified. The Buttrick method is named after a Protestant minister, somebody Buttrick, and I use a modified form of his method that has 3 movements, he called them, and so there's an opening movement that's got a little story or something to kind of, and then I use the scripture, and then I have a movement of application. And if you guys have seen me preach, so you know, I physically move with each of those movements most of the time.
So the Marshall method.
The Marshall method.
Should teach that.
The Marshall madness. Right.
I mean, I would say if somebody asked me to describe your, I think you do a very good job of challenging. I've never heard you give a homily that doesn't involve some sort of challenge at a small level or at a big level at times, but almost homework to walk away with, which I always appreciate when you preach, because it's one thing to take a message away. It's another to take away action.
Right.
So
good job.
The Marshall method. Good job.
All right. Should we move on to dumb questions then?
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Thanks. Okay. First dumb question. I feel like I see things that happen at mass, and people are going to start being like, Jeff, what if you just didn't worry about everything else going on?
I saw something wild, and
I know you did. So we can both share our wilds, and then I have another more serious question. Two of them, actually. One, okay. Intinction,
Yeah.
right? Intinction is the act of being able to dip the host in the
Precious blood.
in the precious blood, and then consume it.
Right.
Which, like, as a kid growing up, like when I received first communion, intinction was still a thing. I think I was teaching when they changed that and went away from it. Very much, again, like, for if you're a person who truly understands and believes in the true presence of Jesus Christ and the sacrament, then like it makes a lot of sense to not have intinction, because like things drip when you dip them. Like I know it's probably, I probably have
Well, I
stuff
mean,
on
like
my
when you
shirt.
do it the right way, it's not. And it's still part of the Eastern rite, like with the little spoon.
Right.
Like it's not inherently wrong.
But
No, I think the casual nature of it.
Like somebody doing it themselves.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
In the act of like in receiving communion from an extraordinary minister, receiving the host, and then walking over to the cup, dipping it.
Let's
and
steer away from
consuming.
that.
no,
So I
filthy
saw
pig.
that happen this weekend, and my family asked me after mass. They were like, "Why did you go?" Oh, no, because that's what I just said out loud to my like. And so I'm wondering, A, is that allowed? Should I like say something to somebody about that?
Yes.
Okay. So I should talk to the priest about that
Yes.
and let them know that that's.
It is permitted for the priest to intinct and give it to you. But it is not permitted it's never permitted for a lay person to give themselves communion. And so that's part of that, like kind of it's seen as giving yourself at least the precious blood.
Because you're not being offered the cup.
Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
taking that. Okay.
And the way I say it to folks is we always receive communion. We never take communion.
Then
Okay.
why do we take the cup and
Well, because
But we receive the cup.
we receive the cup.
well,
We're given the cup.
that person was given the cup for intinction.
Well, they shouldn't have been, because they're filthy pagan. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All of you out there in radio land, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, it threw me off. I hadn't seen that in,
Yeah.
20 years
Right.
almost. Like I hadn't seen that, and it
Yeah, I see.
really
Priests do it.
caught me off guard. And it was a person who like went last for communion, which like sometimes I've been to parishes where like they ask you to go last if you're going to receive on the tongue or something like that.
Gross.
So it was this person
Kidding.
weighed in with.
That's fine.
I know you receive on the tongue.
I do.
But yeah. Anyway, okay, that was good. Thank
Okay,
you for
yeah.
clarifying. I just wanted to feel.
What's that little spoon called? Does that have a name?
It does have a name, but I'm not
Yep.
Eastern Rite, so I
Yeah.
don't know it. I'm not that
Do you have
familiar.
any friends at the convocation? Ask.
I will.
So-
You know who would know? Father Dufresne.
I'm sure he'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll ask him next time I see him. Is he Eastern, right?
No, but he's kind of into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can say Trady.
He's also that.
It's not a criticism. It's just
Yeah.
a descriptor. Yeah.
So the church I went to in a different state called Florida, there was an organ, and during the Gloria they were playing the organ, and I'm not musically advanced enough to know like the different phrases and stuff, but there's like different like stops that you pull for like
Different sounds.
chimes.
Yeah.
Like there's like he pulled like a chimey one that was like during one of the verses things amped up a little bit and there was like chimey belly type things. But what I didn't expect was up on the like organ itself, the pipes, there was this star that started spinning around in a circle.
Like on the 4th of July?
Yeah,
Like one
sort
of those
of.
sparkler stars?
Exactly. Like one of those like little windmill things
Like
that
a
the
pinwheel?
pig has like hanging out the window.
I want one.
One of these organs. You lose your mind.
I would
You
hate
could
it. just I would hate
Here's a
it.
joke I haven't made in a while. You could just put a video of the star spinning up on your screen. And it's been a minute since I got to do that one. Oh, anyway, that's not a question. That was just
Anyways, that caught me off guard.
yeah. Okay. Second dumb question.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago at Mass, we have a summer seminarian at our parish.
Mhm.
And so Father asked my wife if he would
A deacon.
A deacon. Yes, he's a deacon. Sorry. So father asked my wife if she would grade, like do a review, fill out a form on the deacon's homily.
Yeah.
It was his first weekend preaching, which I thought was brilliant. The form was very well done. It was awesome. Like what an opportunity, like give some good feedback and things like that. Why are we not doing this? Like,
oh, we absolutely should.
For priests.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like we could have like a secret shopper thing, like, and not like as a,
but
we
again,
want
like,
to threaten you.
What's the recourse? Like,
not about recourse, not for like bad, but like the idea of like, don't you want to be better? Like, don't you want
absolutely
like to receive feedback and like like nobody in your, like the large majority of people in your parish are not going to tell you you're not doing good. Right.
No.
Like we joked on here before about like people will walk out and turn to you and say, hey, I loved your homily, but like the deacon preached.
Right.
They don't even like,
I ask my servers because junior high kids will just tell you.
Yes, they will.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's something I do pretty regularly is just say, hey, did that make sense? Was that a good homily or a bad homily? And they'll tell me, not always in like terribly helpful ways, but I'll get a sense at least if it was good or not.
Could you imagine if there's like a general survey of the priest homily and the responses would be, I really think we should have painted the handrail black instead of brown.
You would have that. You would also have like a full fourth of the comments would be related to the microphones. You know, like couldn't hear or was too loud or
this experience just had my head spinning about like, what if like a deanery of priests or a group of priests got together and just said, hey, let's use this form. Let's create this. Yeah. And you ask 3 of your parishioners to come to my parish this weekend and just listen to my homily. And I would just love it. I don't need to know who does it. I don't need to know who it is, but I just love their feedback. I just loved it for the purpose of just knowing. I'm sure there are times where like, I've heard you say this. You feel like you gave a really good homily, but you just don't know. Like you don't know how it lands. No. You don't know how it goes. And I don't know. I think it could be of great benefit. It's a thing to borrow from like the education world. Like,
I love it.
The whole idea of like observing teachers.
That form that Elizabeth did is done by the seminary. So it's part of your transitional deacons kind of grading for this summer.
Also, it should be noted, transitional deacon Sam Roscoe crushed it,
right?
He's friend of the podcast. He was a guest on our podcast with you on your back porch.
Oh yeah,
very early on,
summer 2020.
Yep.
In the restrooms at the airport, there's a little 3 buttons. One has a smiley face, one has a neutral face, and one has a frowny face. We just put those up on the way out that people can.
I had a parishioner at a previous parish who when she'd walk out after mass would just say a random number at me.
Love that.
That was like her, you know, like gymnastics judges hold up those numbers.
Was she the Russian judge?
He was a tough
6.8.
Yeah, he was tough.
I love that. I love that a lot.
Did you actually like that?
I did, because it was instant, and I knew like she was being sincere. Now, sometimes, you know, there's all kinds of things that affect a score. Do I agree with the priest or whatever? But it was helpful to have a sincere and somebody was paying attention. And
yeah,
I had a parishioner at another parish who once said, Father, when you preach, it's like you get up and you greet us with a smile, then you punch us in the face and sit down. And I said, is that okay? And he said, oh yeah, we love it, Father. It's good. Love it.
That's not a far off description of the Marshall method, but I like it. I have another question, but I'll save it. I want to make a comment. This is the last thing. I had this experience at Mass on Sunday. I just think people should hear this and know it because it was good for me, but I think it should be something that other people can take into practice. Not like everyone should just be like me, but
I think everybody should be like you.
There was a young mother at Mass this weekend at the parish that I was at who came in. She had 3 girls with her. She was by herself and her children were not very well behaved. And this poor woman she was working so hard to keep them quiet and keep them distracted and keep them behaving. And one of the girls just kept climbing all over things and putting her feet up on stuff. And at one point she like kicked and broke the thing that holds the books in the back of the pew, like that broke off, and this poor mother, and she's sitting right up front. Like some of this is during the homily. I wouldn't say that the priest was glaring at her, but like almost looked like had like a sadness in her eyes for her. Like, do you need help? Are you okay? Like, so anyway, after mass, I just felt moved. So I went up to her. I just went up to her after mass. I said, you don't know me. You don't need to. I just want you to know that you're amazing. And you had this was a tough day, but like it matters. It really means a lot to these kids. I promise you it gets better. Like mine are way older. I have like this same exact age group of girls, but like I have them like grown
10
up
years
now.
older. Right?
Yeah. And like it just really matters that you're doing this for them. And she just wept. Like she just broke down in tears and was like, I really need to hear that. I really need to. So anyway, I just say this because like, I think if we want young families in our churches, if we want young people around, then we should tell them that we want them.
Yes.
There. And I think there's like so many times the stories you hear, it's not all, but the stories you hear about people being stared at and glared at and like scoffed at or asked to leave because their kids are being loud, and like people should still parent their kids in church too. But this was not that. I just think it's worthwhile. If you see a young family, if you see a young couple and they're struggling, go tell them that like it matters to you that they're there. And it matters to their kids that they're there, and like keep going.
And I would say from my perspective, and this is I think true for most priests, is just because we look over at you doesn't mean we're upset.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like almost impossible to hear a noise and not kind of jerk your head toward it. So don't read too much into the priest looking at you when your kid made some noise. It's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a really cool experience. She was so appreciative of it.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's my advice to everybody.
Good.
Tell people that it matters that they're at church. If you do that, people will keep coming to church. Like that's a good thing.
All right. Father Peter, thank you for coming and
Thanks for
recording
having
this
me.
podcast
Absolutely.
with us.
It matters that you're here too, Father.
Yep. And bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.